So in this video, I'm checking out a brand new lens from Viltrox. Now I've tested a couple of their lenses on my channel. This one is a brand new one. This is the 23mm F1.4 STM lens, and this is designed for APS-C censored cameras. So I have it here on my A6100. So let's jump into the review. First and foremost, I have to say the packaging on this lens is excellent, from the box to the actual lens. From a design standpoint, this lens looks really nice. It's made out of mostly metal, but it feels very lightweight, so my guess is aluminum. The included lens hood has a nice glossy finish and feels very premium. It clicks into place quite nicely. At first I thought it was plastic, but it is a lightweight metal. Around the front of the lens you have some information: a 52mm filter thread, a minimum focusing distance of 0.3 of a meter or 0.98 of a foot, so just about 1 foot. The front lens element is almost a perfectly flat circle. It's not overly big or small. The focus ring is on the front of the lens. It's nice and smooth. It doesn't feel like it's mechanical, but I did not use manual focus at all while using this lens because, that's right, this lens does have autofocus. Right on the top in big, bold, gold writing, you have AF 1.4E. In addition to that, you have a little C logo on the side and Viltrox on the other side. Towards the back of the lens, you have an aperture ring. This goes from f1.4 all the way to f16. It is declicked, and then at the very extreme after f16, you can click it into auto aperture, and there is a slight click going from f16 to auto aperture. Around the bottom you have a metal mount as well as electronic connections for the autofocus. It also features a USB port that supports firmware updates. This lens features 11 elements in 10 groups, a 9-blade aperture, HD nano multi-layer coating that is supposed to help with chromatic aberration. I would say the size of this lens reminds me a lot of the Sigma 30mm f1.4 for reference. On a camera such as the A6100, the finish on this Viltrox lens matches perfectly. It's the same semi-glossy piano finish, and it feels really good in the hand. It's not overly heavy, but it does not feel cheap, and that's the key difference between this lens and a lot of cheaper lenses. I took this lens out with my A6100, shot a bunch of street photography and some portraits with my wife, and here are the results. Ready, set, go. What really blew me away is its performance. I was not expecting it to perform anywhere near the level that it did. If you take a look at some of these shots wide open at f1.4, you'll see just how tack sharp it is. Just for fun, I figured why not do a quick side-by-side comparison. So I took this lens, stopped it down to f2.8, and compared it to the excellent Sony 16-55 f2.8 because I know that lens is tack sharp across the frame, and so it's easier to compare at 23mm on both. And this is the result. Zooming in on this shot, you can see the Viltrox lens performs almost identically to the very expensive Sony G lens. I would say it's 97% as sharp as that Sony lens, which is truly impressive. Now, stopping both lenses down to f8, this is the result. Again, very, very close. in this case, indistinguishable performance from both lenses. From a distortion standpoint, everything is handled quite well with this lens. There is some flaring as you shoot directly into sunlight, but it doesn't overtake the photo and in some cases can be used in your artistic favor. Wide open at f1.4 and even stop down to about f2.8. There is some vignetting in the corners, but not a deal breaker. I didn't edit any of my sample photos and I think that they came out okay. If you do want to correct vignetting, it's a very easy post-processing fix. As far as chromatic aberration, there is some with this lens. The last thing that I'll talk about with this lens is the autofocus performance. It is very quick. It's near silent. It's a little bit louder than some of Sony's native lenses. As far as accuracy, I found for photos, it is great. There were very few shots that were out of focus out of all of my samples. There were just a handful. Although I did notice that in some instances, it would have to focus through the entire scene to actually nail focus. So some Sony lenses, they can kind of focus from here to here without having to go from here to here and then back. With this lens, sometimes it goes to the extreme and then reverts back. But for video, it seems to track faces really, really well, and eye autofocus works with photos. So that is pretty much it for my review of this lens. As far as negatives, I really don't have very many. It seems like a very well put together lens. I was gonna knock the build quality, but it's really not bad, and using it out in the wild, I appreciated the lighter weight. This thing comes in at 260 grams, which is nice and compact and lightweight for a street photography lens. This lens's biggest issue is by far chromatic aberration. If Viltrox was able to fix this in a future update of this lens, it would be right up there with the Sigma Trio when it comes to performance. This is a very good thing for Viltrox. If they continue to make lenses such as this one in other focal lengths, that would be quite amazing. 23mm is a usable focal length, but I really, really wish they would come out with an ultra wide, like a 10mm and 9mm with autofocus f2.8. That would be a dream. As far as pricing, this lens comes in at $299, so $300, which is on par with Sigma lenses. So pretty good performance, and I am pleasantly surprised by it. So very, very cool lens. As always, if you guys are interested in reading more about it or checking out specs or buying this lens, I'll post links down below in the description, so definitely check those out. Special thanks to Viltrox for sending this out for review. I've had it for a couple of weeks now, and it's definitely been a fun lens to shoot with. So I look forward to seeing what else they come out with in the future. As always, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all of your likes, comments, and support. Stay tuned for more, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.